Welcome to ICSE Physics 2025 solution of section B. So here I am going to show you the answers with explanations. Section A is already loaded. So first let's start with question number 4. So question number 4, one out of the three rays IJH shown in the diagram, which rays will suffer total internal reflection. So let us see which rays. The answer is J, but how it's coming to. So we have drawn a diagram to show that. So after doing the diagram through it, what we see the ray J, which strikes the surface at 90 degree, enter without any deviations, strike the other plane at an angle 60 degree. We can find the angle of incident at the second phase here 60 degree by finding out using geometrical methods. In triangle it is 90 degree this side, so 60 degree this one is a prism already given and this is 30 degree, therefore in a total angles in a triangle, and therefore this is 60 degree. Since this is 60 degree is greater than the critical angle of the glass 42 degree given in the question paper, so it will suffer reflection, not refraction. So if what is the condition for total internal reflection? That the rays of light must be traveling from the denser medium to rarer medium. This ray is traveling from the glass outside, so while traveling from denser to rarer medium, the critical angle must be greater than a critical angle. That means so angle of incident must be greater than critical angle, which is 60 degree, therefore it is suffering total internal reflection. Now let us talk about another ray I, also passing perpendicularly straight without any deviation, enters and strike the other surface here. After striking the plane surface, we found out that the angle of incidence is 30 degree, which is less than the critical angle, therefore it will suffer refraction from the second plane also. Similarly, the third ray also has the same case. H, which is entering perpendicularly, strike the hypotenuse, and the angle of incidence here is 30 degree. We calculated it. See the triangle 60, 30 and 60, 30 and 60, therefore it become the angle of incidence here is 30 degree, and since the angle of incidence less than the critical angle for the here, it will also suffer refractions. So the answer is J. J will be the answer. Another questions referring to this diagram is draw the diagram. You have to draw the diagram and show how that ray was suffering total internal reflection out of those rays. The first, it is suffering total internal reflection at this place surface, and then here it is suffering refraction and emergent ray coming out. Let us now move to the second part of the question, where this question was there, a bubble in between the glass block AB, and the viewer is looking from the above the surface. From here he is looking at the bubbles. So where he will see the bubble? He will see the bubble here above the actual position, that is apparent position. And why the person is looking in this way, not from above? Because the question is told that apparent depth is given. That means a person, if the question is saying that apparent depth is given when seen from the surface AB, that means he is observing the bubble obliquely, not perpendicularly. Otherwise the position will be not apparent, it will be original actual depth. So to analyze the answer of this part, the diagram is drawn. This is the diagram, the person viewing, and this is the glass slab 15 centimeter. The ear bubble, we don't know 9, 6, but we know total 15. Now we know that apparent depth 4 centimeter, this one is given, and a person viewing from here seems to see the bubble here, but actually the rays coming from the ear bubble actually suffer deviation and entering his eyes, the rays, and that's why it is forming image there. And also we know that for such case refractive index is related to apparent depth and real depth. So we can say, so we have to find real depth, so refractive index is equal to real depth by apparent depth. Using that formula we will calculate. So here refractive index of the glass is 1.5, real depth we have to find, apparent depth 4 centimeter was given. On calculation we found out that the real depth is 6 centimeter, so we marked it 6 centimeter in the diagram. Now the glass slab was 15 centimeter, so the remaining will be 9 centimeter. Why we are doing this? To find the second answer. Okay, now what was the second part? B. What was the question for that? The question for that is yellow. Answer is that for yellow. The question was, let us see the question. The question was, for which color of light, blue or yellow, the apparent depth will be greater? So for which color the apparent depth will be greater? The answer is yellow. How yellow is coming? See, we know that refractive index is equal to real depth and apparent depth, and refractive index of violet for violet light is more than that of the red light. Okay, so if we see VIDGYOR, refractive index for violet light is most and for red light it is least, and therefore if we arrange we can say that violet is more than that of the yellow, refractive index of violet is more than that of the yellow. Now refractive index is also equal to real depth by apparent depth. So here we replaced the refractive index for violet light real depth, which is 6 cm, we already found out, by apparent depth for violet light is APDV. Also we can say that for refractive index for yellow light is also real depth by apparent depth. For both the cases real depth do not changes, so real depth remains 6, but apparent depth for yellow light be apparent depth y. Now see the fraction. This fraction will show you that numerator both have 6, denominator obviously will have different, apparent depth will have different. That's why the refractive index for violet light is more than, we already know, so this side fraction is more than the right hand side fraction. So if right hand side fraction is less, obviously denominator is more, so and denominator for violet light is less. The apparent depth for violet light is less and apparent depth for yellow light is more. That's why it is giving the whole fraction a lesser value. So the answer will be apparent depth for yellow light will be less. Okay, now further we will move to the next part, part C. The part C answer is false. So what was the question in part C? Let us check with the question why it is giving a false answer. Turning the glass block upside down does not change the apparent depth of the air bubble. So it is false. Why? Because apparent depth depend upon real depth. So if we turn it upside down, that's why we have to mark 6 and 9. The bubble was not in the middle position. So when we see, when this person view from this side, so his real depth is changing. So obviously apparent depth will also change, because refractive index for air to glass is a fixed. So if you change one quantity, other will change. So the answer is false. Now let us move to the next question, number 4.3. What was the 4.3? 4.3 was an object is placed at 2f of a convex lens. So I am placing the object at the 2f position. So the object AB is placed at the 2f, which is center of curvature. F is in between. So obviously it will form a vertically inverted image because it is a convex lens. The convex lens form vertically inverted image after drawing, and the image will be real as well as inverted and same size as that of the object. Now the question was draw a ray diagram drawn, and you have to show it. Number B part was that how will the size of the image change if we only replace the lens of the above arrangement with another lens of greater focal length. Now what you have to do, this lens have to be replaced with another lens except the position of the object. The object position is not changed, lens position is not changed, but the lens is replaced. The new lens has greater focal length. That means the focal length of previous lens is smaller and this one is bigger. So if focal length is bigger, the center of curvature will be bigger. It is twice of the focal length 2f, and this next another convex lens with greater focal length, if it is placed without changing the position of the object, the object will lie between the center of curvature 2f and f. So what will happen if any object is placed between C and F, 2 or F and F, the image formed will be magnified. The image formed is magnified, and the position of the image can be found out by tracing the ray diagram. So we to only answer, we don't have to draw, but only answer what will the size of the image change. So we will say that object, if it's placed between 2 and F, it will come in outside the focus and the image form will magnify. Next part question, number 5. An object is placed in front of a concave lens and distance of 45 centimeter from it. Its image is formed at a distance of 30 centimeters. So we know the lens formula. So we will place U for concave lens, all is negative. F, V, U, all is taken negative. So here U is object distance 45 negative centimeter. V is also negative 30 centimeter. Lens formula, place it, solve it, and find the answer. Focal length minus 90. So calculate the focal length of the lens. The focal length is minus 90 centimeter. So you have to write not minus 90, but you have to write 90 centimeter actually. So if you write minus 90, some marks may get deducted. So you have to write 90, after that 90 centimeter, because you have to find the length. Length cannot be negative. Some student might have written minus 90 and have left it up to there. So you have to replace that and add the answer phrase 90 centimeter. So I think that will deduct some marks. 1 marks will get deducted for that. Now next question is number 2. What is the number 2 question? 2 rays PQ and PS strike with the same angle of incidence and enter. So obviously these rays are at suffering different angle of deviations. That means these rays are of different frequency, different color. So by observing this diagram you have to answer. So what is that? What you see that one suffer less deviation, those that PQ is suffering less deviation, that speed of the PQ is more than the speed of the RS. If the speed of the RS ray is less, then it is suffering more deviation. So obviously deviation suffered by 2 is more than deviation suffered by first ray PQ. And since lateral displacement also deviation, if it is more deviated, then more deviated, that means lateral displacement will be more. So ray 2, that is RS, suffering more lateral displacement. So the lateral displacement suffered by RS is more. Travel with greater speed in the block. Which is traveling with greater speed? Obviously those which, though that ray which is suffering less deviation. Here the less deviated ray is PQ. Sorry, PQ is suffering least deviation, so it is of greater speed. Scatter more in the atmosphere. That means which ray will scatter more in the atmosphere? That ray which travels slowly. So that ray which travels slowly is suffering more deviation and scatter most. That is RS. RS will suffer most deviation. Okay. So since speed is slow, okay, it will be RS, and this is PQ, not P. Next part of the question: name the radiations. This is short question answers. Here, no explanation is required. You have to learn and give the answer. So, which ray for which quartz prism is used to study spectrum? The answer is ultraviolet rays. And second, which is used in remote sensing devices? Obviously, remote sensing sensor, that is infrared rays are used. Correct me if I am wrong. For remote sensing, if it is another thing, which is used in traffic signals. So traffic signals, obviously visible light is used because every public can see them. You don't need a special instrument to detect them. Next, B is name one property common to all electromagnetic waves rays. So which property is common to all electromagnetic? We know many properties are there, so we can write any one. Like they don't require material medium for propagation, just like light, and they travel with the speed of the light, just like light. They are not deflected by electric or magnetic field, just like light. Okay, and another we can write also, they are transverse in nature and obey the law of reflection and refraction, just like light rays. Now, next part of the question, 6 number. What was the question number 6? Let us see first. The question number 6. The Akash take a uniform meter scale and suspends a weight of 2 n Newton at one end and x and the weight of 5 Newton at other end y. Then he balanced the ruler horizontally on a knife placed at 70 centimeter from x. Draw the diagram and calculate the weight of the ruler. So let us first draw the diagram. So as per as the question, x, this is the ruler. I am marking 0, 100, 50 initially at this point in the middle. The weight of the ruler will hang from the middle, the uniform ruler. So it is, let the weight be W. Now at one end x, he is placing a weight of 2 Newton. At another point y, he is placing a weight of 5 Newton. Okay, and now by the principle of moment, we can calculate the total moment. He is balancing it at the fulcrum. So total by the principle of moment, we can balance it. That means the left hand side 2 Newton and distance from the fulcrum 17 plus weight of the ruler and this distance 20 centimeter must be equal to the 5 Newton into the distance, that is 30. Okay, so by balancing we got W is equal to 0.5 Newton. So regarding to the concave lens, some previous number 5.1, what I have told, that focal length is minus 90 centimeter. So if marks may be deducted for writing minus 90 centimeter, but marks will not get deducted because I have seen in the book solutions where the answer is written in negative form also, like it is written 19 centimeter, then in the bracket negative. So marks may not be deducted for that. So let us proceed for the solutions. Here we were with the balanced uniform ruler, question number 6. So we got the weight of the ruler is 0.5 Newton. So next part of the question is draw the diagram. So diagram is already drawn and weight is found. Let us move to the question number 2. 3 levers x, y, z. This is the diagram given. All these levers are the same order. See, load on one side, fulcrum in the middle, and effort on the one side. 3. So this is first order lever, first class. Okay, so first class lever. First question is lever which class will first class. Now among x, y, z, which one will have more mechanical advantage? So obviously whose effort arm is greater, it will have more mechanical advantage. The effort arm is greatest. is that of the x, because mechanical advantage is equal to effort arm by load arm. So mechanical advantage of x will be greater. Justify your answer. So this is the justification. Be that mechanical advantage is equal to effort arm by load arm. Since the effort arm is the greatest of that of the x lever, so that will have the maximum mechanical advantage. Now next part of the question is that of the motion. Next question number 6.3. Teacher weighing 40 kg leaves point P on a skateboard and reaches point Q on the ground with a velocity 10 meter per second. Calculate the kinetic energy of the reacher at point P Q. Sorry, so this calculation we have done. So we got the kinetic energy at Q is 2000 joule. How we got? Weight 40 kilogram, force it is given. That means mass is 40 kg. Initial velocity at the top is 0. The velocity at the bottom is given 10 meter per second. So the change in the potential energy is equal to the gain in the kinetic energy or change in the kinetic energy. So initial kinetic energy was 0. So the change in kinetic energy is equal to total kinetic energy. The kinetic energy here equal to mv square minus u square, change in the velocity. So here u is 0. So we got v square, and we have calculated half mass 40 kg into 10 square, that is kinetic energy is coming 2000 joule. Next part of the question was that the vertical height of point P above the ground if g is 10 meter per second square and neglect friction in this case. So to calculate the vertical height, similarly P, we know that the change in the kinetic energy is equal to the potential energy at the top. So the kinetic energy at the bottom Q is equal to potential at the top. So 2000 joule is equal to mgh 40 into 10 into height. So by that height is 5 meters. So in the diagram we write height as 5 meters. So in the diagram we will change and write the height 5 meters. After that 5 we will write the height, because there are two heights, 5 and 3 meters. So in the question we got this 3 and we got this height, total height from the ground to the top as 5 meters from here. So this is 5 meter. So obviously from here to here is only 2 meter. The last part of the question was the kinetic energy of reacher at point R. So what will happen to the kinetic energy? Here the kinetic energy was Q, and when C is gaining potential energy, there is a loss in the kinetic energy, and here the kinetic energy will be less. So the loss in the kinetic energy is equal to the gain in the potential energy. So we find the potential energy mgh using 3 meter, and therefore what we get, potential energy at R we got mgh 3 meter, and this potential energy came out to be the kinetic energy 800 joule. So we got 800 joule because the change in the potential energy, potential energy gained is actually the change in the kinetic energy. So we write half mv square, velocity was at the bottom and velocity at the top, and no, we don't know velocity at the top, so we write the kinetic energy at R, change in the kinetic energy, and this is the change in the kinetic energy subtracting, and 1200 was the initial change in the potential energy. So we got 800 joule. 800 joule is the kinetic energy at the top. Okay. Now the question was that C has lost a 500 joule. 500 joule was lost, so kinetic energy at R was not 800, instead 800 minus 500, 300 joule. So 300 joule is the kinetic energy at position R. Now let us move further. 300 joule. Next question. Question number 7. Where is the 7? This is question number 7. 7. Draw a block and tackle system with a velocity ratio equal to R. Velocity ratio is equal to R, will be equal to the number of pulleys. So number of pulleys will be 3, and we know the number of pulleys in the upper section, the upper block must be more or equal to that in the lower block. So the number of pulleys will be 2 and 1. We have to draw this using a tension wire. So the wire will go this way, that way, this way, and come here, and load will hang from here. Load L. E mark arrows and direction of the tension. So this is the wrong direction of the tension. The direction of the tension will be in this way. Okay. Now next question, in a submarine in a sea. So the submarine sea echo, ultrasonic ping and a stopwatch, ultraviolet and ultrasonic ping is sent from this direction. It travels and strike a barrier, object After striking the obstacle, it returned back, and the time taken is 1 minute 40 seconds. So let's assume the distance from here to here is x. The total distance traveled by that sound is 2x. Time taken is 1 minute 40 seconds. That is 60 seconds plus 40 seconds, 100 seconds. So distance is equal to speed into time. And it is also given the speed of the sound in the water was already given. Speed of the sound in the water is 1500 meter per second. So distance is equal to speed into time. We got the value distance x, 2x, and we got x equal to 7500 meter, that is 75 kilometer. Next question, number 7.3. 7.3, frequency, pitch, resonance, sum. So paper fall, two diagrams were given. Set of box, sound box A and sound box B, and sound box A is loaded with a wire of length equal to the length in B, and both have same tension 10 kgf, but thickness in this is more thick wire, and this is narrow wire. So just like a guitar wire, some wires are thin and some wire are thick. So thinner wire produce higher pitch, high frequency, and thicker wire low pitch and low frequency. So let us read the question. The diagram given below show two boxes A and B with wires of same length and tension 10 kgf but different cross section, that is thickness, simultaneous vibration, tuning forks of frequency 300 Hz are placed. So both initially simultaneously forks are placed on them of frequency 300 Hz on box A as well as a B. The paper rider is placed. This paper rider fall off in case of B but not in case of A. So the paper fall off in case of B because the natural frequency of the tuning fork 300 Hz matches with the natural frequency of the sound box and start vibrating with higher amplitude due to resonance, and the paper rider fall off. But the frequency of the tuning fork of 300 Hz do not matches with the frequency of this box, and so there was a vibration, force vibration, but not a resonance vibration. So there is no large amplitude and vibration, and so the paper did not fall. Now next, name and explain the phenomenon. So the phenomenon is obviously resonance, and you have to explain what is resonance. Okay, define resonance. You have to define what is resonance also. Use name and explain. You have to explain resonance. The paper rider fall off in case of box B. A tuning forks of frequency matches with the natural frequency of box B and start vibrating with the frequency of the forks of equal to 300 Hz, and this phenomenon is resonance. You have to now explain what is resonance. Now next question is B. The wire A now resonate with a tuning fork of frequency F. Now another fork is placed whose frequency is F, and A resonates when the fork of frequency F is placed. That means if it is resonating, that means it is natural frequency of the box A. So the box A also have frequency equal to that of F. So box A will have frequency equal to that of the tuning fork, that is equal to F. So if the wire A resonate with the tuning fork, if another tuning fork of frequency F is placed, remember this tuning fork is not of frequency 300 Hz, then A matches with the natural frequency of this another tuning fork of frequency small f. That means wire A will also have a frequency F. That means natural frequency of the wire A, box A, will be equal to F. Frequency is inversely proportional to the length. Frequency is inversely proportional to the radius, and frequency is directly proportional to the square root of the tension. Here both A and B have the same tension, 10 kgf. Both A and B have the same length L. Then the difference lies in the thickness. So wire A is thicker than the wire B, which is thin wire. So if thick wire will always have inversely proportional, so thick wire will have less frequency. Frequency of A is less than that of the frequency of B. Frequency of A is F, it is given, and frequency of B is 300 Hz because it matches with the natural frequency, and frequency A matches with the natural frequency F. So if A is replaced by F and AB is replaced by B, so frequency F is less than that of the 300 Hz. So the question answer was, is F greater, equal, or less? F is less than that of 300 Hz. Now this electric box diagram is given in question number 8.1. The diagram shows wiring in the meter room of a building. This is a building. It is not mentioned here that building is commercial or domestic. So the answer of current rating of a device X depend upon the load of the building. If the load is more, the current rating will be more. For commercial purpose, it is 50 ampere rating is used, and for domestic 30 ampere is used. Since it is not mentioned, student have to mention both the answers. For domestic it is 30 ampere, and for कमर्शियल इट इज 50 एम्पेयर। तू तो नहीं लिखी है।
हाँ लेकिन 50 होगा, वो क्या कंपनी से होगा उसका, लेकिन 50 होगा।
Next question, what is the difference between switch Z shown in the diagram and switch you use to operate different appliances? So switch Z is a double polar switch. Okay, what that means? That means both the neutral and the live wire will break off simultaneously when the switch is switched down. But when normal switch generally applied with the appliances are only connected with the live wire and they only disconnect the live wire. That's the difference. Question number C. What is the unit of the physical quantity displayed in the Y? Y is actually a meter and it's slow meter reading which is in kilowatt hour. So meter reading, the unit is kilowatt hour. Next question part is of 8. Question number 2. Study the diagram below, which is a nuclear fission reaction. Here a uranium nucleus split up to give 1, 2, 3 products. Okay, so first I am doing with only one to find out what is happening, step by step process.
Nuclear fission है, value of x का x.
Name the process depicted in the diagram. It is a nuclear reaction and it is a nuclear fission reaction. Find the value of x. So to calculate the value of x, we will do first recognize the element neutron, mass number 1, charge 0, plus uranium 235 by 92 must be equal to uranium X92. That uranium X92 then further will break and give barium and krypton. So we have to find x. To calculate the value of x, what we will do? We will do sum of the subscript plus and equal to the sum of the subscript on the right, and sum of the superscript on the left is equal to sum of the superscript on the right. So that is 1 plus 235 must be equal to x, and 0 plus 92 must be equal to 92. Obviously 0 plus 92 is equal to 92, and 1 plus 235 is equal to x. That means x value stand 236. The uranium is 236 by 92. We got the value of x. Uranium 232 by 36 by 92. So uranium 232 by 36 by 92 now split up to give barium and krypton. That means also it also giving 3y. So we can write this equation in a straight line. That means uranium is splitting up. So we can how uranium split up and is giving 2 subnuclear particles. So let us see. We can write the equation like this. This equation we can write in a straight line. Uranium splitting to give barium, krypton, and 3 by another particle. This another particle, y particle, as mass number A assumed taken and charge B we don't know, but we know that sum of the subscript on this side 236 must be equal to sum of this. So we write 236 is equal to 144 plus 89 plus 3a, 3y, y is mass A, so 3y will have mass 3a. Solving that we get a. So what is the value of a we got? We got value of a as 1. So I know the value of a now 1. Similarly 92 will be equal to 56 plus 36 plus 3b. So we got b value 0. So we now know y is a by b, that is 1 by 0. So what is this 1 by 0? This is neutron. 3 neutrons are further released. So in the missing identify y is a neutron. Now this was interesting and complex question. Here a series 2 parallel connections are given. This all bulbs have equal resistance and supply is 12 volt. So 18 watt, 12 volt. Find the resistance of each bulb. So what is the resistance of each bulb? We know power is equal to V by I. We can find the resistance by substituting I with V by R. Power is equal to VI, and instead of I can add V by R. So power is also V square by R. Power value is 18 watt. So I have to calculate R. V is already given 12 volt supply. So R I got 8 ohms. Resistance of each bulb is 8 ohms. So next question was the current drawn from the cell. I have to find I. So total V equal to total I plus total R. So sum of the parallel resistance. Sum of the parallel resistance is 1 by 8 plus 1 by 8 is equal to 1 by R. So I got 4 parallel circuit resistors. These parallel circuit resistors was 4 ohms, and another in series is 8. So total resistance is 8 plus 4, 12. We know V equal to IR. So I is 1 ampere. 1 ampere current is flowing through it. Now if bulb B3 is removed, the bulb B3 is removed. So what will happen? If bulb B3 is removed, the current flows, yes, the current flow in this direction in series. The two bulb will have series connection. So will the brightness of the B1 increases? So will that affect the brightness of the B1? So here the brightness depend upon the voltage supply. More the voltage, more the brightness. I also think that the brightness depends upon the current supply. More the current, more the brightness. Power is equal to V into I. So let us assume first what happened to the voltage. So here in series the voltages are different, V1, and here they have similar voltage V2, V2. So if we remove the bulb V3, the voltage here remain unaffected. It will remain V1 only, and here it will remain V2 only. So voltage do not changes. So the brightness will not change. Now what happened to the I? Value of I, value of I in the series is the sum of the total I. So here I is I1, and here I2 gets divided into two parts. I2A, I2B. If I remove this one, so this one is getting I1, I1, I1. This in series both I is same. So B1 is getting I. Now B2 is getting same I. Initially it was also getting same I current, even if it is removed. If this B3 is kept connected, so then this two bulb will have some low brightness. Here the brightness will not change. So the actual answer will be that, as per my view, the brightness of the bulb B1 will remain unchanged, will remain same. Now last question number 9 for those who attempted question number 9. 30 gram of ice calorimetry sum to bring down certain mass of water 17 gram to 20 degrees centigrade. That means ice was used and it final temperature was 20 degrees centigrade. Obviously the whole ice melted. Whole ice melted. The ice will have to go to two stages. First melting stage, then you have to heat it further to 20 degrees centigrade. The solid ice first melt to liquid ice at 0 degrees centigrade. Temperature do not change. So H equal to ml you have to use to calculate. Then the liquid is further heated and get to the final temperature 20 degrees centigrade. The 0 to 20 degrees change in temperature, MCT. So heat here gained must be equal to the heat lost by the water was initially at liquid state, remained in the liquid state from 70, came down to 20 degrees. The change in the temperature is 50 degrees centigrade, and here the drop in the temperature heat lost is equal to MCT. So let us calculate what is the amount of total heat gained by ice. The total heat gained by the ice is equal to M into L latent heat plus MCT. That is mass of the water, specific heat capacity of the water in the change in temperature. Now after calculating, we got that heat gained by the ice portion was this much joule. We also know that water lost some heat. So what is the heat lost by the water is equal to, let the mass of the water is m. So mass of the water is not known. Mass into specific heat capacity of the water into change in temperature. Law of conservation, law of calorimetry, H equal heat loss equal to heat gain. Calculate the value of m. Mass of water is 60 gram. Next question is question number 9.2. Certain amount of heat will warm 1 gram of material X by 10 degrees centigrade and 1 gram of material Y by 40 degrees centigrade. Which material has specific, because similar to that of the multiple choice given in lead and aluminum case. So X when heated by same heat H, the change in temperature is 10 degrees centigrade. Y when heated by same amount of heat, temperature becomes 40 degrees centigrade. The rise in temperature is larger in case of Y. That means specific heat capacity. What is the specific heat capacity? Specific heat capacity is the amount of heat required per gram per degree change in temperature. So X specific heat capacity is H by 10, because 1 gram of the substance is bigger. So H is the amount of heat supplied to 1 gram of X per gram. So for per degree rise in temperature, it will be divided by 10, and for Y it will be divided by 40. So H by 10 and H by 40, which one is greater? Obviously H by 10 is greater than H by 40. The specific heat capacity of X is greater, higher than that of the Y. Material X will have higher specific heat capacity. Number B, which material we will use to make calorimetry? So calorimetry, obviously we will use such material that will have low specific heat capacity, absorb less amount of heat from the solution. I think that's why Y must be used, which is taking less amount of heat from the solution mixture to attain the same temperature, not much influencing the reading. So we must use material Y. The specific heat capacity of the substance remains same when it changes from solid state to liquid state. No, this is false. The specific heat capacity do not remain same, because specific heat capacity of ice is not equal to specific heat capacity of water. It is false. Question number 393, last question. Reflect through the deflection of a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field when current is passed through it using Fleming's rule, left hand rule. So what is the copper PQ will be moved toward the C? Yes, it will move toward the C by Fleming left hand rule. Name the law. Obviously Fleming left hand rule used to determine the direction of the motion of PQ. What is the law? I don't know, but law might be Lenz's law or whatever. Force Number C, what will be the effect of the force experience if the rod PQ is placed by another rod of the same length of greater cross section? If PQ is placed by another copper rod of the same greater cross section, the force of deflection will increase because force of more current will flow through it. More current, more deflection, more magnetic field, and force of deflection increases with the increase in the current flowing through the rod. Since thickness increases, the current flow will be more. If you find different solutions for the answers and suggest different answer, please comment in the box. Thank you for watching.